Hey everyone, thank you for joining me today. We're going to go over another use case of the Cloud Permissions Firewall, which is securing unused identities. So we'll go over how you can do that in the product, as well as what's a little bit different about how Sonrai approaches the problem of unused identities. So we'll start here by clicking into preview. This is our second hero card. You'll see we have 117 zombies. Zombies is just our name for inactive for over 90 days IAM users and roles. So that's human and machine identities that have just been sitting around, maybe forgotten about, or they're just not being used anymore. And so obviously the Cloud Permissions Firewall is able to monitor and discover those zombie identities and then offer a way to secure them. So what does that actually look like? Click into preview here. You can see a list of all zombie identities. This is broken up by account, right? So here we are in Acme Co.org in the Acme web app account. And we can see various unused zombie identities, right? For inactive for 95 days, 5 months, whatever, entirely unused. And so we're going to go ahead and offer the opportunity to quarantine these zombies. And so what does quarantining mean? So with the click of a button, and again, we have a little warning pop-up here, this means that all permissions, so not just sensitive permissions, but all permissions are actually going to be stripped away from these zombie identities, leaving them essentially useless to any exploitation or attacker, right? So you can consider them secured, but they're not actually being deleted. So you're removing any of the risk or the fear of deleting or removing unused identities, but you're getting the risk reduction, right? And so what's amazing is that when you hit click quarantine, everything is stripped away, right? But you actually have the opportunity with our permissions on demand workflow to wake them up at a later date. So let's go through a flow here and see what this actually looks like. We'll click quarantine, success, amazing, zero zombies in this organization. We're actually going to move over to AWS, right? And so here we are as Sneaky Joe. We're going to log in as Sneaky Joe. This is one of those zombie identities that just got quarantined. So we'll go ahead. You can see here, we're already getting some error codes, but we're going to try and use the EC2 service, right? Immediately, a bunch of errors. Obviously, because Sneaky Joe's permissions have all been restricted, he's unable to do anything in AWS or in the EC2 service specifically. So once he moves into EC2 here, what does this kick off on the Cloud Permissions Firewall side? We'll move over here out of the account and into Slack. So this is the permissions on demand automated workflow that I mentioned earlier. So we were actually in the POV of a approver designated to this section of the cloud, right? And an approver gets an automated message the second that Sneaky Joe tried to use the EC2 service or use any of his typically provisioned permissions. An approver gets this message here. And now this goes two different routes, right? So one, this is an opportunity for your team to investigate, because this could be sign of a compromised identity, right? This could be an attacker trying to log into Sneaky Joe's profile, right? But more likely than not, this is a totally benign thing. And this is just an identity that maybe your team uses once a quarter or just annually, and you want the security, but you want to be able to wake it up for whatever use case you have. So all that takes is clicking the approve button. We're back in AWS as Sneaky Joe. All it takes is a refresh, and Sneaky Joe has all his typical permissions back. He is totally woken up, and we'll pop back into the product here. That's it. That's the entire flow. We do offer a 14-day free trial if this interests you at all, but thank you so much for spending this use case with me.